Tobacco was cultivated for the first time in 1531, and by the early 1700s, the tobacco industry had already developed. Cigarettes, in particular, were the first introduced in the United States in the 1900s and took the country by storm. The marketing and promotion of the harmful practice continued to reel users in from the 1920s until 1970, when President Richard Nixon signed legislation banning cigarette ads on radio and television. This was due to scientists being able to find a relationship between excessive smoking and lung cancer. It didn't take long for companies to create an alternative that was supposedly better than smoking. The first patent for an electric cigarette was filed in 1965, but they didn't start to gain their fame until 2003, when the first commercialized e-cigarette started to be sold in Beijing, China. They first made their way over to the United States in 2006.
Really? What's up with that?
It's a Nicotrol inhaler. It gives me the nicotine I need to fight my cravings and help me quit.
Really?
But you can only use it for 6 months, and you have to use it as part of a stop smoking program. You have to stop smoking first, then you can't use it with anything else containing nicotine.
In the last decade, there has been a significant increase in the use of vape products by adolescents.
My big thing about vape pens is we just don't know the long-term effects, and we do know that e-cigarette companies and vape companies aren't being honest about what's in them. I've read different studies out of Johns Hopkins and CDC and Harvard. All of them have found that there's so many chemicals in a cigarette that we don't know, but we know they're toxic. That you look to a vape pen, we still don't know what those chemicals are. And so we're putting a ton of chemicals in our body, and we don't know the impact of that. And we've only seen, at best, a neutral impact.
Between 2014 and 2016, the ads for vaping significantly increased and were being directed at adolescents. A study found that in this time period, 78% of middle schoolers had been exposed to at least one ad for vaping.
I started vaping in 9th grade, and it started off in like the school bathroom. That kind of sounds kind of weird, but yeah, I just saw my friends doing it mostly, and I just started doing it.
Well, it started in middle school. I used to get pods and jewels from people that were older than I was.
By 2017, vaping in young adults grew and has continued to increase since then. Not only were they targeting adolescents in ads, but also in packaging and flavors. E-cigarettes are capitalizing on the youth and making flavors that appeal to the younger eye, such as cotton candy and gummy bears. A study done by the Truth Initiative found that 43% of young people who had ever used e-cigarettes did so because of the appealing flavors.
But when I first started, it'd be stuff like banana and stuff like that. And people would be like, ooh, that sounds like a good flavor. Like, I like bananas or something like that. So, yeah, it definitely used to be like that, but I think it's toned down a little bit.
Used to, when I would go into stores, I would look for the coolest, packaging of, rainbows or fruity things because I like fruity vapes.
If I have Fruit Loop flavored vaping and stuff like that, or cotton candy, or Skittles or something. Well, I know that sounds crazy because I don't really look at it much, but I do know that it looks like they're targeting people that have those kinds of appetites, and so they appeal to them, just like cigarette manufacturers appeal, to the rugged man or the sophisticated woman or that kind of thing. Sure. They're there to make money, and they're going to use all the data that they can to make that money.
Another way they are targeting the younger generation is working to glamorize vaping in media and pop culture. According to the Truth Initiative, 79% of the shows most popular with young people ages 15 to 24 depict smoking prominently. Teens are seeing people their age on television and on social media smoking or vaping.
Yeah, I think young adults consume media way more than anybody ever has. It's so prevalent for them, and it sort of normalizes it. If you see people vaping all the time, or if it's in movies, or people that are doing TikTok or Snapchats or things like that, and people see it, the more they see it, the more normalized it is. If it looks cool, stuff.
Like, I would see it on social media and stuff, and like people would post a new vape on Snapchat or something, I'd be like, ooh, I want to try that or something like that. Yeah.
Adolescents are vaping and not even realizing what they are doing to their body. The e-cigarettes they are using contain cartridges that are filled with nicotine, flavoring, and chemicals. Nicotine is one of the most addictive chemicals in the world, and when you fill up the body of an adolescent whose brain isn't even fully developed, they quickly become dependent on it.
Well, this past November, I had the flu, and then I also developed double pneumonia, like pneumonia in both of my lungs. And my lungs were just weaker than they would have been if I didn't vape. So it developed into this rare condition called Lumiere's. And I got holes in both of my lungs. And I had to go through some surgeries and stuff. And they had put me in a coma for like 20 days.
One of the main reasons is I'm not spending as much money, so that's good. Well, not that I really have any anyway. And then my workouts have been a lot better. I haven't been running out of breath as much. My anxiety is not nearly as bad as it used to be. I used to have extremely bad anxiety when I would vape. And that's really the main reasons, I'd say.
One of the most popular e-cigarette companies is Juul. A Juul looks like a flash drive and can be charged in a USB port. The sleekness and easy use of a Juul is attracting the younger generation. Not only that, but the fun flavors and kid-friendly marketing is leaning teens to trying it themselves. The nicotine flavors of one Juul pod is equivalent to 1 pack of cigarettes. According to the CDC, nicotine can affect a person's attention, learning, mood, and impulse control.
So Leonard would get rid of it, and I would generally go buy a new one if I wanted to, and then it got to the point where I actually wanted to quit vaping because it was really affecting my mood and, again, my workouts and then my anxiety. So I tried to quit, and I tried to lean off of it very slowly. So I would do I would try to go like 2 days or 3 days, and then kind of lean off of it after that. So maybe like every other day I'd vape, and then I would try to stop, and then maybe the next week, and then it just kind of it probably took like a month.
Physically, like, my body is just a lot weaker than it was. I played sports, and I'm a lot less like athletic. I mean, I can move around well now, but not much running and jumping like I used to when I played basketball. And emotionally, at first I was kind of down when I got home, but I've been taking like medicines and stuff, and I guess I'm better emotionally. I feel like I can talk about it more.
The first death linked to vaping in the U.S. was reported in 2019 in Illinois. According to CNBC, the patient was hospitalized due to a severe lung illness and died shortly after. The death toll is continuing to rise. As of 2020, there had been over 60 deaths linked to vaping. Many of the deaths also have been linked to vapes that include marijuana and THC. According to the New York Times, vaping products now account for 30% of the marijuana business. Many users are leaving behind their joints and pipes for the sleekness and easiness of getting their high in through a vape pen. Many of these people are not looking at the consequences of THC vape pens, though, and some are dying from this mystery lung illness. Not only are people dying because of what is in the vape, but they are dying from the actual device itself. In 2019, a vape pen killed a man after exploding in his mouth. He was in the intensive care unit for 2 days before dying due to a stroke after his carotid artery was severed by penetrating trauma from an exploding vaporizer pen. Another man was killed in May after a vape pen peppered his head with shrapnel and started a fire in his home. So not only is what's inside killing you, but the actual pen itself can do the same. In December 2019, President Trump signed a law into effect, changing the federal minimum age of tobacco sales from 18 to 21. This includes cigarettes, cigars, and e-cigarettes. Vapes have spread across the country like wildfire. As we continue to learn more and more about how vaping does affect the human mind and body, research and regulations should be made to prevent future addiction and health issues caused by vaping.
There's better ways to deal with anxiety and things of that nature. One of the main reasons I was able to deal with leaning off of it and quitting was by having somebody that was responsible, that helped me and that I could look to when I would start again. Leonard would keep me kind of in check And so I would say find somebody that can keep you in check while you're trying to lean off of it.
We've all seen the ads on like social media where it's like the quit vaping ads and the side effects and stuff. And everybody always thinks like it wouldn't be you, like that wouldn't happen to me, but it definitely could. Like it could happen to anybody. So yeah, it's just not worth it, honestly.